Thank you for coming back. This is a tutorial for tiny slices of cheese quesadilla. These ones are tiny enough to go on your nails, but the actual half quesadilla that I slice up would be a good size for a little dollhouse plate if you are working with 12th scale. So let me go ahead and get started on that. So my tortilla mixture is white and translucent. I'm using the white Sculpey because it has a little bit of a more yellow base to it. The white Primo has a bit more of a blue base to it, so if you use that, you'll want to add a touch of the yellow ochre or ecru. So here is a flat sheet of clay. I mixed it, and I'm cutting out a 1/2 inch circle. It's the same size we just used for our green burrito. I'm going to use my toothbrush here, flatten it out around the edges. I felt a sneeze coming on. Oh, sorry guys. Okay, so here we are going to shave some pastel dust. It's rust color, the yellow ochre, and a touch of brown. Okay, and I think I'm actually going to paint this on my finger so you can see it a little bit better. But I use a somewhat small brush. That's wild parrots in the background. If you hear that squawking, we have wild parrots that fly up every year. We didn't have them for a few years, but they're back. Okay, so I am putting some yellow ochre, especially around the outsides where it would be more toasty. And this is really a cheater pants way. I might add a little bit to the center, but not too much, because we're not actually making a quesadilla, even though that's what we're trying to get the effect of. Now I would pick up a tiny bit of the rust and add it around the edges in a few places to give it that nice toasty look, like we've been cooking it on a skillet. So I'm getting it toasty around the edges. If you're wanting to be super realistic and you're doing it for a 12th scale plate, you may actually want to roll it thin and roll out some orange yellow clay thin and layer it, and then start doing the texturing and the cooking. But I prefer to do it this way. Even for a dollhouse plate, I would do it the way I am now. Then from here, I'm going to take a toothpick and I wet it. I'm going to stick it in a little bit of rust, and I'll add a few little marks here and there of the rust, and some brown, and we'll add some brown around the edges too. But we're trying to get some of the spots. You see, when you cook a tortilla, you get those darker spots. So we're creating the top of the quesadilla. So see, we're starting to do that. And when it bakes, the color mellows out a little bit. But you don't need to worry too much about it because we're chopping it up. The color looks much better in person, but we're getting our little toasted quesadilla here. Okay, so now I'm actually going to cut my tortilla. I cut it straight in half. So I center myself over the middle and cut straight down. And this will make 2 plates worth of quesadillas if you're wanting to have side dishes with it. And then I chop it like you see a quesadilla chopped on a plate. So I chop a half into thirds. So see, there we go. So there's 6 little slices, which would be enough for 3 nails. I used 2 slices on the nail. And then now we're going to take care of the cheese part. You can see there's some cheese right here coming out. So what I do is I stack 2 of them. And for this, it would probably be helpful to have a little bit of a safety pin to help move it around and decide how you want it stacked. I like this. I think that looks good. I'll pick it up and show you. I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to make the cheese. So the cheese is just yellow and orange conditioned, mixed together well, and then you'd pinch some of the cheese and put it into some TLS. I have some at the very back of the camera area here. I'm going to try to pull it forward a bit. And then you start smashing the conditioned clay into, it's basically how you make the frostings, but you do want it to be thicker. Like a frosting you'd put on a cupcake, not like as thin as a syrup. So you want it to be thick. Here is some that I have left over. I was making something with it and decided that I'd want to hold on to it for when I do nachos. So, and this one's a little bit of a paler color. But I like that paler color. Now, what we're going to do is grab a glass pebble. Here's a little glass pebble. And I'm adding just a tiny bit of that cheese to the bottom of the glass pebble. It's just for sticking the quesadilla onto the pebble. And the reason I'm not using the nail molds that I made for this is because the liquid clay would act like a glue to that and ruin it. But it won't stay permanently on the glass. We just peel it off. So there we go. And then what I'm going to do here, now a safety pin will work best for this, but you pick up a tiny bit of that cheese, and I put the cheese on the inside of the quesadilla. So I have cheese on the top one, and now we'll put cheese on the bottom. And I'm putting it just on the very edge of the white that's the cut portion. And you can even, if you want it to look melty, you could bring it out a little bit, like it's oozing out of that quesadilla. Then, I wouldn't do it on the back edge, but I would have it on the side where they overlap, and then one on the side of the other one in the back here. So there we have some toasted quesadillas with cheese. If you're wanting to make them on for a dollhouse plate, I would still do the cheese like this. I think that the cheese could be a little bit richer. It is going to cook a little darker than you see it here. But there we go. There's our cheese quesadilla. Then you just bake it. These are really thin, so even 15 minutes is plenty of time to bake them in the oven. And let's see. It's hard for you to see here, but there's my little toasted quesadillas. I have them on 2 of my nails. I went with a green-yellow theme, so I have green burritos, quesadillas as the food. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you enjoyed this and that you can get use out of the tiny burritos and quesadillas even if you're putting them on dollhouse plates. I don't have a charm-sized cheese quesadilla yet, but I do have a charm-sized green burrito, and that's in the link of the description of the tiny burrito. And then I'll do another video real quick explaining the margarita nail, the blue Hawaiian, and the mojitos. So I'll be back soon, and let me know what you guys think I should do for my next set of nails. Talk to you soon. Bye.